What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we're gonna have a little bit of a chat about the argument for peculiarity. Now, as you guys know, in the most recent dev stream, they went ahead and teased out some of the peculiar mods that are out there, and gonna be rewards for the upcoming Onslaught mission type. And a couple of them were definitely a little bit wild and wacky. Of course, upon impact damage, enemies will have little stars rotating around their head, or upon critical strike, basically what ends up happening is enemies are covered in sprouts of flowers, but they provide no additional benefit. Now, I've been talking about this with Mogamu, and you know, he definitely has some very, very strong points in his video, and if you guys haven't checked that out, I'm actually going to go ahead and leave that in a link in the description box. But I think the more that I thought about it, I kind of didn't want that. So one of the big arguments is that peculiar mods should have base stats attached to them. So instead of, you know, flower power, it would be like a peculiar point strike, where, you know, you would get all of the sprouts of the flowers and you get the base effectiveness of point strike. And in my head, I'm like, so basically we're just making a more flashy point strike. And the second that I thought that in my head, I was like, so what's the fucking difference? Like, what's even the point in using it if there's nothing special or peculiar about it? Because technically that peculiar mod will just become the new normal mod. Because what are you gonna do? The Warframe community is always about, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more. It's never about, oh, I'm willing to trade this off to get this other great benefit. And it's something that we've definitely seen more recently with some of the augments that have actually been added into the game. Everybody, there's like a quote that just always goes around, this should have been in the base ability. And in my head, a part of me is very much, I see these arguments for this should have been in the base ability, and I'm like, you could make that for so many different augments that a part of me is kind of like, where do you stop? So they're like, oh, you know, let's make this augment for Mesa. Let's make her be able to walk during Peacemaker. One of the big things about Peacemaker is that you are literally a turret. You are stood there, you're not allowed to move. That's one of the drawbacks to having such a powerful ability. So now Mesa, you know, can move in Peacemaker with this augment, and it slots into the Exilus slot, so I don't feel like that's necessarily the biggest loss out there, right? But everybody's like, it should have been a part of the base ability, it should have been a part of the base ability. And I'm like, well, you could say that about so many different things. So let's say, I don't know, maybe Mesa has a built-in stun to her ultimate. Okay, now they're gonna be like, well, that should have been a part of the base ability. That should have been a part of the base ability. And that kind of like really gets to me and kind of irritates me, because the things that people want, the power levels increase more and more and more and more and more and more. And I feel like there's nothing that Warframe can ever release that won't ever come out with some sort of terminology of that should have been released with the base ability. And that kind of works in with the whole peculiarity thing. Like, I understand that people don't want to give up a mod slot. But at least in my eyes, when I saw like the peculiar mods, I was like, that's kind of different. You do have to sacrifice for it, and you get this weird effect. It's really off the wall, it's really wonky, it's really fun, and the whole purpose of the mod is for fun. The purpose of the mod isn't for min-maxing. The purpose of the mod is not necessarily for giving yourself the ultimate OP weapon, right? It's about having a little bit of a joke. Now, when me and Mog were talking, one of the things that he had stated, he was like, well, you know, if you don't give them these base stats, these mods are going to be forgotten like a month down the line. Nobody's going to be using them. And I know that he meant that as like a negative, but part of me almost looked at that as a positive. I'm like, nobody's going to be using them a month down the line, so if I pop it out 2 months down the line, people are going to be like, what is that? Why are there flowers all over the place? And that's the kind of effect you want, right? From a peculiar mod. You want people to be like, what is going on here? Why is everything so strange? Why is it like weird and different? And a part of me died when I thought about, okay, if they introduced like point strike with the additional flowers on top of there. So like peculiar point strike or whatever, right? When I thought about that, I was like, so everybody's just gonna run around shooting flowers at everything. Well, how is that peculiar? That's just gonna be the new norm. That's not different, that's not unique, that's gonna be the new norm. So why the fuck do I want to do that? So guess how I'm gonna be peculiar? I would be peculiar by not using fucking flowers on my shit. And I was like, that literally just killed all the fun of it for me. And I think I'm putting my foot down on this, that I'll probably do the peculiar mods in a video. If they get like all the base stuff added to it, that's fantastic, whatever. But it's just another fucking boring mod. There's nothing peculiar, there's nothing different about it. It's just gonna become the new normal. And a part of me feels kind of like, well, how about I just pass? I just hard fucking pass. Because if you don't make it different, if you don't give a kind of trade-off, if you don't make it peculiar and different, and have some sort of like sacrifice that you have to make for that peculiarity, then it's not special. It's just the new normal. And I feel like that legitimately kind of kills these mods, at least for me. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way. Feel free to leave your feelings down there. But here's the thing. It's gonna increase the usability of these mods. Yes, it will. Adding base stats to these mods will increase the usability for these mods 100%. I damn well know people will 100% do it. But it kills the fact that these mods are different and unique. And for me, being an old man in this game, 5,000 hours plus now, it kills me to see all of these people running around with the same copycat builds. You know what I mean? When you go into certain mission types, there's a meta. You see the meta there. There's nothing unique, there's nothing strange, there's nothing different. There's always these setup builds that you see people grabbing from other people, and it's a rare day that you see something different. It's a rare day that you see something that makes you go, what? What is going on over there, right? So that's why it's kind of very special to see things like the Zenith, see things like maybe even the Zenistar, even though the Zenistar is kind of like a low bar. See things like the Lado Prime, Excalibur Prime, and the Skana Prime. Like, all of those things are the only unique and different things in game. Even the Bratton Vandal and the Lado Vandal, which hurts my heart, but it's okay. You're allowed to have your uniqueness. And I think that's what it is with Warframe. I think that's one of the biggest issues that Warframe has, is that there is very little exclusivity. There is very little uniqueness. You can go into a mission and be able to spot the Banshee. Okay, is that a Sonar Banshee? Is that Soundquake Banshee? Like, what is it gonna be? It's like, it's gonna be one of those ones. There's not anything to be different or crazy about it. Like, let me tell you, if I see a Savage Silence Banshee running around in a public mission, listen, I'll give them applause. I would be like, hey, I have not seen one of you in a public mission in a while. I mean, I know you're probably doing your solo focus farming in the background or something, and that's all cool and good, but I'm looking for something different, something unique, something peculiar. And I just feel like putting base stats on them, yes, would increase their usability. And I think that a lot of people will end up using them, but I think that a part of me is just a little bit turned off by that. So, if I'm going to be real with you, I think that if they put in, and maybe one of the solutions is to give them a smaller amount of that stat, so maybe like half the amount of point strike, and then adding in the cool different effects to it, maybe something along those lines, and that would increase its usability a little bit and also give it the cool effect on top of that. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, a part of me is like, if everybody's using it, that it's not really all that strange and different. I don't know if that makes me sound crazy or like a grumpy old man, but I don't know. That's kind of my perspective of it, from seeing so much of the game and seeing so much of the community already. Like, the new normal is just everybody's gonna be covered in flowers and stars on their heads, and I mean, it's cute, but it's not peculiar. So a part of me, and the thing is, if DE jacks up the rarity of these things, people are going to complain. So they can't necessarily be super rare to maintain their peculiarity or their exclusivity, right? they have to be attainable, or else people are gonna cry and bitch and moan about it. So I don't know, a part of me is just kind of like, I feel like the wave went up. I was like, oh, so exciting. And then, you know, everybody's like, but I'm never gonna use it unless there's base stats. And a part of me is like, fine, I'll use it. I'll be very, very happy. And I'm letting you know right now, there's a part of me that got super jazzed over these. And the second that I did it, I looked at my Lado Prime build, because how perfect to be an asshole and rub salt in the wound than to get your Lado Prime out. Take out one of the mods, because the Lado Prime is ridiculously powerful already, and slot in a mod that does absolutely nothing but fucking turn enemies into a bouquet of goddamn flowers. That's my dream. That's my dream, to like just be an asshole about it. But I don't know. I understand that a lot of people are gonna want the base statistics, but let me know how you feel about peculiarity versus normality, right? Because that's really what I was, you know, embracing with this. I was like, that's really different, but it's not going to be different or special if it's the new normal. But that's just my stance. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. And that about does it for me for now. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your peculiarity. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!